I'm Anthony Palatta. I'm the Chief Learning Officer here at the American Dental Education Association, and I'll be doing a presentation on the ADEA ADCFP program. And hopefully we will get some more schools to join the program this year, which would be really fantastic. I am going to share my screen in a few minutes. I'm going to do a short PowerPoint presentation. It should be less than 20 minutes, probably 15 to 20 minutes. And then after that, we can take all your questions. So I prefer we wait to questions to after the presentation, or you could also put them in the chat box. My associate, Michaela Tyson, will be working that too, and she'll be collecting them. Or you could just share them live, because we should have at least 30 minutes or more to discuss the program. The purpose of today's program is to see if we could to get new schools to join. There's a lot of people on the call today who already have a program, but just want to relive the presentation again to get a renewed perspective on it. And there's some other folks on the call today who we like to move the program to more of the Allied Dental Education program. So I've invited all of them to join us today as well and see how we can bring the program to more folks. I'm also going to record the program for those who can't make it, and it is being recorded right now, and I thought you should know that. Okie dokie. So let's just jump in here. So if you could say the ADCFP 5 times fast, then you're automatically in the program, because it's a long title. A lot of people have struggled with it. It took me a few years, but it does stand for the Academic Dental Careers Fellowship Program. So the ADCFP is a program really for faculty. Most folks think it is a student program, but it is a faculty development program, and it's aimed to improve the climate at dental schools and allied professional programs and advanced education programs for non-clinical careers in dental education by providing students insight into the life of a faculty educator or research. And we decided to move the program to a faculty program and a climate program, because what we learned from focus groups with students in particular was that many schools sort of had a less than positive view of a faculty role. Many students would hear from faculty who are often overworked or part-time in the clinic and felt like, this isn't, you don't want this job, or they don't pay you enough, or you're going to have to, private practice is going to take up all your time. But there wasn't a lot of positiveness about academic careers. And the way ADEA was promoting academic careers a decade ago was based on faculty shortages. So we're actually telling students, there's not enough faculty, we need you to take that role. And that didn't seem to have great results. So we really looked at the program, spoke to faculty, spoke to students, and realized we needed to create a more positive climate, that students would recognize that in addition to a clinical career, an academic career and a research career were viable careers that had a really positive outcome, and they would be really enjoyable, like the one that I've had the last 20 years. So that's the basis for this program. This form of the program began in 2015. We've had close to 600 students complete the program. And at any time, we've had 41 US Canadian dental institutions involved in the program. So until this date, the program has only been open to academic dental institutions, which means a dental school, an allied program, or advanced education program that were on a campus connected to a dental school. The reason for that was really the beginning of the program was funded by the ADEA, and this is where the program began in a pilot form. Over the last few years, we've opened it to more and more programs, and now looking to move it now to all ADEA members, regardless if they're in an academic dental institution or not. And you can see my alma mater up there in the left-hand corner at NYU. And then again, over time, over the last 5 years, the dark blue are the number of students in the program over time. So that's all added up. So each year we've had close to 100 and almost 150 students in the program. The lighter blue are the institutions. So each year we've had different number of institutions participating. Sometimes we've had 18, sometimes we've had as much as 35, but we've had a total of 41 overall that participated at some time. And each year we grow, another 2 or 3 programs join us. So compared to the original program and the current program, you could see the difference. We focused on students and we moved to institutional climate and focus on faculty. The objective in the beginning of this program was to convince students that they should get involved in academia and research. Instead, we're trying to discover potential future faculty by creating a positive environment so that those who have the inclination to be an educator will rise to the surface. The rationale for the program was that we have a faculty shortage, but now the rationale is it's a rewarding career to be in academics and research. And we used to measure the success of the program by how many students participated, where now we're really looking at how many institutions participate. And so the objectives are pretty clear. The mentor is to improve the institution's capacity to broaden their pipeline of students interested in academic careers and to enhance faculty members' ability to implement and foster a culture of teaching and research. For the students, it's an opportunity to explore career pathways, to induce students with professional training about teaching and research, and expand their professional networks. So how does this all work? Sounds a little complicated, but it's really quite simple. There's 3 roles. There's an ADCFP liaison, and that's who we're talking to today. We're hoping someone on the call will volunteer at their school to be the liaison if there is none. And then there's faculty mentors. Some schools have 2 or 3 faculty mentors, and some have 40 or 50. And then it's the student fellows, and it's the mentors and the fellows that spend a year together. So again, what we're looking for today is a liaison from each of the programs to serve as a liaison to their school. So the liaison's role is as follows. They're our primary contact. So they're the person that contacts us if there's an issue, or I contact if we have a message to that school. The liaison is the ambassador of the program. They don't manage the faculty student groups, but they're there to to communicate with the groups and have that communication come back to ADEA. So in other words, the liaison does a training at their school. We give them a PowerPoint. It'll look very similar to today's PowerPoint. The liaison would do a lunchtime learning, which now would be really any time on Zoom, about what the role would be for a faculty and student. And then after they do the training and they get some volunteer groups of faculty, student mentors, they send that list to ADEA. And then for the rest of the year, that's really the only role of the ADCFP liaison, is to communicate with us who the student faculty roles are, and if there's any new information that ADEA needs to get to them. So they are the conduit between those groups. So we email them the PowerPoints. We provide the liaison with everything that's needed. There's an entire kit that makes this very simple for you. You arrange 1 or 2 meetings to answer questions about participants, and then you let us know who has joined the program. So at one school, like I said, you may have 3 faculty who want to be mentors and just have 3 faculty student pairs. And other schools have grown to have 30 or 40 of them going on. All of it's good. What the faculty mentor does is co-creates an action plan with the student. They sit down and decide what are their goals for the year, what do they want to accomplish, and then we ask them to meet at least twice a month, preferably in person, but of course now it would be virtually. And what's most important about the program is the time that the faculty mentor and the student have together. Research has shown us that the number one reason a student decides to become an educator or a researcher was because a faculty came up to them and said, I see something in you, or there was a faculty that really inspired them. I'm here today because Dr. Vanillo and Dr. Phelan at NYU, when I was a student, really impressed me, and they took me under their wing. And from that day on, I knew I wanted to come back and teach. So it's really that simple. It's not always easy to do, but it's a very simple plan. It's to spend time together. So meeting once or twice a month and having a conversation with the faculty, sharing what her life is like. You know, what is she working on? What does it really mean to be a faculty? Has been very rewarding for students. The student typically begins the program in May through December, where they work on their projects. And then at the annual session in March, they do a poster of what was the work that they've done. That's changing now that we're virtual, and we're making the program more flexible, where schools can start it really at any time that they want. And we could talk more about that after the presentation. But the student identifies if they're interested in research or teaching. The student has to choose their mentor, or the mentor has to choose the student. So we don't recommend that we just put people in the room and pair them off. A student should be able to say, I know a faculty mentor that I really want to work with, and know who that is. Or the faculty should say, as a student that I have my eye on, and I'm going to reach out to her. So we really don't want a forced pairing or a random pairing. It should start with the student already knowing something, or the faculty. The program could be in the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year. There's a lot of flexibility with the program. Some schools have a one-year program. Some schools have a 4-year program, where they start in the first year and they carry it all 4 years. So the best thing about the program, and one of the struggles schools have, is that each institution can create their own way of doing the program. We give you all the parts, and then you decide which ones you want to use. We also recommend an application. Sometimes when schools have done their presentation, students think they have the time. They don't realize how much work they will do in this program, which I will show you. And 20 students sign up, and within a month later, only 3 are left. And so we recommend that if you do bring this program to your school, that you create an application, and we have one that you can use. And we find that just having an application really weeds out the serious students versus the ones who want to be in the program. So the program has many components. The most important is creating the action plan, that the faculty and the students sit down and they agree on what they want to get accomplished and the timeline they're going to get it. We like the students to begin the program with a reflection essay in the beginning and the end, talking about why they're interested in a career in academics and what their questions are, what they want to learn. And then again, at the end of the program, to reflect on what was learned and what their thoughts are now. Students decide to be in a teaching practicum or a research practicum. And I'll go through briefly what those can look like. One thing that the faculty and the students like are faculty administrator interviews, where students interview different faculty and admin at their school. And the most important thing are the monthly meetings between the fellow and the mentor. Some students create a poster of what they learned during the year. Some students do not. And they put it all together into a final portfolio that they can use on their in school as well. Some of the students use this to get into honors programs and/or also put it on their applications to postgraduate programs. So they found it very helpful. The poster presentation is at the annual session, and all students, regardless if they do a poster presentation or not, will receive a certificate. That's pretty much what I do today, because there's a lot of questions, but I'm going to show you briefly what some of these items on the screen look like. and then take it from there, so that if you do think this is the program for you, there's another training. And that's for anyone who wants to join. And then I work really individually with a smaller group, and we go through all of these in detail. So I promise you, if you bring this program to your school, you will have a lot of assistance. Okay. So a sample action plan would be, the student's personal objectives, how often you're going to meet, when the first essay is due, what faculty you may want to interview, what a teaching assignments or teaching work would be, or research project, and any other activities. Again, so a teaching, there's one faculty and student where they develop a syllabus together or develop course objectives together. Sometimes faculty will let a student do a lecture if they're a D2 student talking to a D1 group. Sometimes the students do lunch and learns for other students to talk about what they've learned. One school created an assessment tool of how do you assess good learning. So it's really what the student and faculty want to work on and what aspect of teaching that they like to get involved in. Other folks choose faculty who are really into research, and they work with them on a research project that's gone through the IRB, or maybe just how do you apply for research? How do you do an IRB proposal? And also, again, they do lunch and learns with students. Some schools, the student has two mentors. They have someone from teaching and someone from research. So this can be designed in any way that faculty and student would like it to be. But we do ask that it's written out and planned as a formal report, whatever, so that they follow through throughout the year. So bi-monthly meetings, career reflection essays. We give you advice on how to do the interviews, how long they should be, what the student should write about the interview. We give you lists of different types of faculty to interview to help the student decide what those would be. Again, all this is really the second training. Sample questions that you can use. I mean, we really make it very easy for you. The main thing the faculty needs to do is to be a great mentor. For the teaching track, some people have done classroom teaching, preclinical lab instructors. Some have done conferences or cases, or working in the clinic. Here's an example of how that would work. The fellow would develop the objectives and PowerPoints, and the mentor would guide them. They would develop assessment tools, etc. For biomedical research, putting together the title and the focus of the research, the rationale, typical research protocol. Sometimes faculty will take the student to the curriculum committee meeting or to our IRB committee meeting. We like you to take students to intra-departmental meetings so they can hear what do faculty really talk about in the department or between departments. Some faculty have taken students to university meetings and even gone to national conferences together. So the idea is to really bring them into a one-to-one relationship in the day-to-day activities of a faculty member or researcher. And we always ask that no matter what the student does, to have them do some sort of reflection paper on that experience. As we know, experiential learning is the key method of learning. And we think that's when students reflect on these experiences, they get much more out of them, and they're really enjoyable to read. Sometimes a student and the faculty have informal meetings. Sometimes the faculty chooses one in the summer, and the fall it will be someone else. They may go to lunch together. They can bring in other faculty to discuss their experiences. They could do journal article reviews. There's one school where they have 20 pairs and they review journal articles and have debates on them. Same thing with the poster. The poster could be anything that the student wants to share, and we have compiled a database of all past posters. So you could see what posters look like in the past. You could see what action plans look like in the past. You'll also be able to provide you with what reflection papers would look like, or what a research protocol looks like. All of this has been PDF'd, and if you decide to do this program at your school, we can provide all of that for you. And then that final portfolio could look like this, right? What the plan was, how often you met, your essays, your interviews, the program you did. Some student faculty pairs choose to do 2 of these, some do all 9 of them, some create their own. It's not the work that's done that's important, it's the relationship that's being created, and it's also the mark it leaves on the school. That students over time realize there's a hub, there's a person to go to, there's a liaison at their school who values academic and research careers, and they can go to that person at any time, and they can then be involved in a mentor relationship. That's really the goal of this program. The biggest goal of the program, I would say, is to eliminate the program. In my opinion, it's sad that we don't really accentuate at all the importance of academic careers and research careers, and that for every great clinician that we have, there's an academic behind her that taught her, and there's a researcher behind her who created a lot of the work that that clinician is doing. And so we really want to raise the level at all dental schools, that academics, research, and clinic are all equally important, equally valuable, and all can have rewarding careers. So some dates would be that, I'm just letting you know that in December, we open registration for the ADEA virtual annual session. No, we do not have what that cost would be. It will definitely be extremely lower than you've seen before, but we're still working on that. I bring that to your attention because at the meeting on Sunday, March 14th, will be the certificate event that we have. And so you can join that if you want to see all the schools that participated in the past year. And the next training I had here for February. So if anyone on this call said, you know what, I want to bring this to my school, and or I want to go through the training again, typically we do it at annual session, but now that we're virtual, I could do it in February, but I could even do this in December if everyone really wants to get the program going. But most likely you will start the program in January or February of next year. You recruit your students, you would do your presentation on Zoom, you would get your mentor pairs, you'd send that to me, and then you'd have the whole year to do your program. Okay. So, okay, good. All right, everybody. So I'm opening this up to Q&A. I am very glad to see that my mute wasn't on, because you can't see that when you do this. And I said, oh my God, maybe no one's heard me for 30 minutes or 20 minutes. So, but y'all did. I see there's some items in the chat. The student fellow comes from within our own institution. That is correct. But it is so flexible, Rita, that if you wanted to have a student come from another institution, that would work also. In allied health program at Associate's Degree Community College, could the student be an alum now at a local university working on a higher degree with a future quest for teaching, or is it rather targeted to current student from their own institution? The goal of the program is to improve the climate at your program for academic careers. But if you find another reason to use this program and that's valuable to your program, then I say go for it. We really just want to keep the relationships alive. We want to make sure there's a place for students and faculty to talk about these careers, and it could be done in any way that works best for your program. Wendy. So please unmute yourself if you're here, if you have a question for me. And also, if you're shy, send me an email and we can talk at any time. I'm very open to having one-on-ones with anyone who wants to talk about bringing the program to their school.
You received another question that was, will you share the PowerPoint as another resource?
Yes. So Michaela, can we send this out to everyone that registered for the program?
Yep, absolutely. And we can also include it on the ADEA ADCFP webpage as well as a download for future reference.
All right, great. Yep. So you can watch it over, you could watch it over and over and over again. You watch every episode. We do have Rebecca Stolberg, our Senior Director for Allied Dental Education and Faculty Development, has joined us today. So just saying hi to Rebecca as another ADEA person here. Anything to share, Rebecca?
No, I think for those allied dental people involved, on this Zoom session, the allied faculty in dental schools have always had this as an opportunity available. So we're really looking to get more of the allied programs. And of course, it'd be a lot easier for the baccalaureate level folks because those are the students who are ready to get right out and start teaching. But we'd have to get a little bit more creative with the associate degree folks in terms of, making future faculty. But we're curious to see what the interest is, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons we've been a little methodical in how we roll this out. We piloted the new program 5 years ago for 2 years, and then we finally grew it. And I think, Rebecca, we did reach out to some allied folks and focus groups or just people that we knew, and they didn't feel like the program as it was right for the allied programs.
Correct.
But, I saw so much interest in it when I put this out that I am very open. If there's, for the allied folks who are here on the call, I had said that we're thinking of piloting something in a year from now. But if anyone on here today would like to start this year, just to see how it goes or play around with it, I'm willing to do that. You don't have to wait till next year. I'd be very open to providing you what we have and you trying it out and giving me some feedback so we can really find what's the right fit. Is the program designed for those programs as well, or what kind of tweaks? So if you're interested in the program and you're at a dental school, please email me and let me know, and I'll set you up for the training that would get you involved in bringing this to your program early next year. And if you're an allied dental educator who's not at a dental school, but says, hey, from what you shared with me, I think I want to try something this year, I'd be willing to mentor you on that and walk you through it as well. Well, that was easy. All right. So if we have no questions, are we okay, Michaela?
Yep, we have no more questions.
Okay. Okay, great. Yep. And if you need to go to a supervisor or your dean or your program director, feel free to reach out to me also if I could provide you anything that can help you with that conversation. And with that, I'm going to thank you all for participating today. I hope to hear from a couple of new programs. That would be really fantastic. And until then, have a great week and a great weekend coming up in a couple of days. To me, every day feels like it's Friday. I can't wait for the weekend. So looking forward to it. Thanks.